Hi guys, it's Rowan, and today I'm going to be doing a spooky Halloween book list. Halloween is my absolute favorite, and I don't read very many scary books, but when I do find a good one that just makes you, shiver and get all spooked out, I really have to share. So book one on my list is actually going to be the first book I ever read that really terrified me. And I can't find my copy of it, which is really upsetting, but I've got it here somewhere. That book is Cujo by Stephen King, and I read this book years and years ago. I thought, I was a super reader. I should read Stephen King because he was adulty and spooky, and this book messed me up. For those of you that haven't read it, it's about a Saint Bernard that gets rabies from bats and basically goes on a huge, awful, horrible, scary killing spree. And there's this one part in the book where he's like hiding underneath these house stairs and jumps out and like rips the intestines out of some police officer, I think it was. And it was terrifying. To this day, we have stairs out front that are like open underneath. I book it up them every night. Like, I'm terrified that that scary, snarly, foaming dog is just waiting under there to get me. Book number two I have, and I actually borrowed this one from the library, is The Madman's Daughter by Megan Shepherd. This book I just read because I was in the mood for some spooky reads. Halloween. So good, you guys. Spooky and like gritty. I will admit it has an awful love triangle of hell, but if you can look past it, so good. Like, this author writes the most like tense, terrifying scenes, and it's based on the island of Dr. Moreau. I know there's a movie because I watched it years ago. I don't know about a book or what, but spooky. This girl's dad is a scientist, and he is on an island, and he abandoned her and everything, and he's been doing creepy experiments on people and animals, and it's really terrifying. The next book I have is The Monstrumologist by Rick Yancey. I actually own this one, and The Isle of Blood, I think, is the second one. If you guys haven't read this, prepare yourself. It's really good, but it's really gross, like gory, and like I remember there's like pus oozing, rotting feet, and just awful, wonderful things. It's about a boy who is like an assistant to this doctor guy, and it's set, I think, in like Victorian London era, whatever. And the scientist is digging up bodies and things and trying to find evidence of these monsters that he believes to be real. And they are, of course, real, but they are terrifying. They're these creepy things that like eat dead bodies and eat people. And this book is just, it's not for people with weak stomachs. I remember I was reading this a couple years ago when it first came out, and I had to like stop and take deep breaths because I thought I was going to vomit because it's so graphic, but it's really good. The story is really good, the writing is great, and it gives you shivers. The next book I have is not necessarily a scary one, but it's definitely kind of spooky, and it's got supernatural elements to it, and it's such a good book I had to put it on the list. That's Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. It is really good. Anybody that's read any of his stuff, he's an amazing author. And this book is about this man named Richard, and he finds a girl on the street that nobody else can see, and she comes from like under London, which is like kind of a parallel universe of London, but it's all like underground and it's dark, and she's last to the line of like, I think it was a royal family or something, and there are these bad guys that are following her, and they're just creepy as heck, and they're trying to find their way through because he helps her because he's a good guy, of course, and it's really good. It's really kind of spooky and chilling. It's not outright scary or anything, but it definitely, there's some parts that give you some chills. I remember one of the bad guys likes to like eat rats and stuff. It's very good. Alright, the next book, I'm assuming a lot of you guys have probably never heard of it because I don't know anybody that reads these, but I really like them and they're spooky. Strange Angels by Lily St. Croix. They are young adults, and it's about this girl on the cover, Drew, and she hunts with her father, kind of like a Supernatural Dean and Sam, if any of you guys watch that. but her mom was killed and they hunt like zombies and vampires and all sorts of things. But the thing I like about these books is the writing is really realistic and gritty, and I like that. Like, when she's scared, she like pees her pants, and like when horrible things happen, her and her friends, they cry and they're upset, and I really like that. It adds kind of like a realistic tone. Not all the guys are big macho men. They're scared too because there's horrible things that go bump in the night, and it's really good, and she's very badass, and this one's a must read. The next book I haven't read in a little while, so I might be a bit fuzzy on the details, and that's The Summoning by Kelly Armstrong. These ones I read a little while ago and I really liked. It's about this girl named Chloe, and she can see like the dead. She's not like a necromancer or anything, or maybe she is. I don't know. Maybe she does become a necromancer. I said that and then it seemed like I was saying something wrong. It's been a little while, but she gets put in like a house for like unstable teens, and she encounters other kids that have supernatural abilities, and it's really good. There's 3 books in the series. I own the first one only, but I remember I really liked them, and they were kind of spooky. Like, the dead people aren't like, oh, I'm a zombie. They're like, hey, I'm dead and I want to kill you because I want revenge and I'm a tormented soul. Sucks that you can see me. I mean, it's good, and there were some intense parts in this. This one's fun. And the last book on my list is one I read recently, and it's fantastic. The book is The Diviners by Libba Bray. This one just came out recently in the last year or so, and it's really good. It's all about like the occult and like spooky things, and this girl can like, she knows things, and she's a fun character. Libba Bray is very good at writing fun, kind of sassy, maybe a little bit bitchy girls, but I really like it because they're not, they're not boring, and I like that a lot. And there's a bad guy in this book. He's gonna scare the pants off of you. The way she writes the scenes with him, I frankly was terrified. Like, just, she conjures up such a mental image of this spooky butcher guy from freaking hell out to kill people. It is really scary, and it has of course got supernatural undertones, which is always good, but the scare factor of the villain is where it's at, you guys. This one is great. Well, those are going to be my Halloween reads. I'm going to be rereading a lot of those. Hopefully you guys saw a couple books that you can add to your Halloween or at least fall list, because fall is always a time for spooky reading. If anybody has any recommendations, I'm always open. I am like in the reading zone right now, so please let me know if there's any spooky books you'd like to recommend, and happy reading!